everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my channel. It has been about 6 months since I last gave you an upcoming plans update video, and I figured it was about time. Now, a lot of the projects that I mentioned in my last video, which I will link up here and also down in the description if you want to go kind of check it out and see like how I've been doing with my goals, a lot of those plans haven't happened yet because I make these videos every 6 months, but I put in the video a year's worth of projects. Also, some of them haven't happened because I've just run out of time. I've been doing a lot of theater lately and just haven't had as much time for sewing as I have at times when I don't do theater. And I did not know when I made that video that I would be doing 3 back-to-back shows. However, we are now approaching a theater break, which I'm honestly really looking forward to because it means that I can get back to having a little bit more free time, a little bit more time to sew, etc. And I have a lot of sewing to do. This is the time of year that the events start coming up like super rapidly. Right now, the day that I'm filming this is February 10th, and that means that Comic-Con is less than a month away. If you've been watching the most recent videos on my channel, you will know that Barbie is just about finished. I need to restyle her wig, but otherwise she is finished. And you might also know that Jane has been just about finished for a while. I just have a little bit more of the studying to do and she is going to be done. That's Jane Seymour from 6. However, that still leaves other days of Comic-Con open without costumes to be worn on those, because for the first time I am actually planning on attending Comic-Con for all 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I've never done that before. I usually just do Friday through Sunday. So that means I need 4 cosplays. So I'm going to be doing Jane and Barbie, obviously. I am also going to be doing another cosplay that I actually made almost 10 years ago, but that needs a little bit of work. So the first project that I'm going to be working on here, the next videos that you are going to be seeing on this channel, have to do with me remaking my Rapunzel bodice. This is what it currently looks like right now, or at least it did before I started to take this apart earlier today. And as you can see from this picture, it doesn't really fit me right. So next week's video is going to be all about refitting this bodice and making it fit a lot better. And it's not that I've changed size even in the last 10 years. It didn't fit right from the get-go. So now that I know more about fitting than I did like 10 years ago and know a lot more about cosplay than I did 10 years ago, we're going to be refitting that bodice and we are going to be touching up that wig because I have worn the wig a bunch over the last 10 years and she's in a bit of a state. So the Rapunzel wig needs some help. So that's going to be the very first project that is coming up for Comic-Con. The second one is kind of a like partial project because it's not actually a cosplay that I'm going to be wearing for a full day at Comic-Con. I am actually taking part in an American Girl related cosplay panel on the Sunday morning of Comic-Con, and our organizer, our Shield Maiden, Emily, has asked that we all dress in American Girl cosplay, which, you know, makes sense. However, that is the day that I'm planning to wear Jane. So I wanted to find a cosplay that would be relatively easy to put together, one that I've actually been wanting to do for a long time too, and that could be worn potentially over my Jane cosplay for an hour on Sunday morning, and that is Kirsten's winter outfit right here. Hopefully I will not sweat myself to death during the panel, but I am planning to wear my Jane Seymour cosplay with basically this sweater and skirt over it for the panel. And the hat, if I can get something that's closest to the hat. But I already have kind of the sweater, and that is this one right here. This is an LL Bean sweater that I found on eBay. I had been kind of looking for a while, and it fits me maybe slightly more like fitted vintage style than hers does. And also it does have little bits of blue in it. So my hope is that I can literally take like fabric markers and make the blue black. That's my goal, because then it would be a little bit closer to hers. Hers is just, it's not available in my size. Like I've seen some that are kind of close-ish. There's a Dale of Norway sweater, I think, that is kind of the closest human sweater that gets to be hers. And by the human, I mean human adult, because they did actually make basically the sweater for children. But yeah, I found like one of that sweater. And actually, I think it was in the wrong color anyway. It was this exact pattern, but I think it was like in burgundy. So this is what I'm going with here. And then I'm going to, if I can get the blue to be black, I am going to do my skirt in her same colors with the red and the green. If I can't get this to turn black, the blue parts to turn black, then I may actually just do kind of an inspired by skirt and have mine with blue incorporated into the skirt instead, so that it doesn't look so jarring with like red and green and then blue in the sweater. So yeah, that is the next plan for just like a super quick, almost semi-closet cosplay after the Rapunzel cosplay fixing. And this should be pretty quick because it's really just me making a skirt, a pretty simple skirt, and then doing a little correction on here. So that'll be a nice easy cosplay, and also a nice thing for winter because this is an appropriately seasonal cosplay for this time of year. Now, obviously that does leave one more day of Comic-Con. My plan at this point is probably to wear Rose's boarding suit. It's not really like a Comic-Con appropriate cosplay, I feel like. And I say that mostly because I just don't feel like people appreciated the Rose swim dress and coat cosplay last year at Comic-Con, but most likely that is what I'm gonna wear on the Thursday, which is kind of a shorter day anyway and a less crowded day anyway, because that's the other thing that I'm worried about with Rose, is that she might honestly just be too warm for Comic-Con, especially on a more crowded day. So once the Comic-Con sewing is over, which Comic-Con is like the first full weekend in March, I think it's like the 7th, 8th, 9th or something like that in there. But that means that I have to pretty rapidly turn my attention over to Victorian Festival sewing, because the Victorian Festival is the very first weekend in May. So I will have really just shy of 2 months to sew a bunch of things for the Victorian Festival, because I have lots of plans. And the first one is that Emily, as in the Sucky Seamstress, is hosting an 1860s themed ball. And so I need a ball gown for this 1860s themed ball. So this is the design that I'm feeling the most inspired by at the moment, but making this into an evening version of this. But I love like the tiers of ruffles and the gingham, because I am using micro gingham for my dress. This is a silk taffeta yellow and white gingham print, and I think that it will look really pretty in this kind of design over here. I have 14 yards of this, so it is plenty, which is fantastic. And I'm very excited to make this into a ball gown finally, because this has been in my stash for absolute ages. Following that, I will be pulling out more yellow silk, this time with a bit of blue as well, because I want to make myself a bustle gown. And I'm looking at something kind of in the vein of this over here. I'm definitely leaning towards natural form, even though natural form is risky for the Victorian Festival, just because you never know if the ground is going to be wet. And natural form, you've got trains to worry about. But I just feel like these are screaming natural form to me, and I really enjoyed my last natural form dress that I made, this one right here, and I enjoyed wearing it to the Victorian Festival. So that is my plan, is to make something natural form again, because I just feel like it's time. And then hopefully, if I have time to do even one more thing during that span of time before the Victorian Festival, I would really like to return to my day bodice for the 1900s outfit. I know it's technically Edwardian, but it's this one right here. Last year I made an evening gown version of it that I wore to Emily's ball at the Victorian Festival. And yeah, I want to do like the original day version of it. So that is my hope, that maybe I can squeeze that project in as well, but we'll just have to wait and see. So after the Victorian Festival, we can kind of start to turn our attention to summer sewing and potentially to costume college sewing. Though frankly, it does tend to feel like in the last several years that I wind up making enough stuff for costume college, like even before it kind of happens, that I have stuff, like I don't have to make things specifically for costume college because I never follow the themes anyway, so that really doesn't matter. But there are 2 summer outfits, one of which has been on my list honestly for a while, and then the other of which I mentioned to you in the last plans video, which is I really want a human-sized version of this dress right here that I made for my American Girl dolls last summer. I think it's so cute and so pretty. I do not have the fabric for this project yet, which is why I'm not showing anything to you, but hopefully I will be doing it in just a blue quilting cotton, kind of like I used for the doll. The other one that I would love to get done that is a summer dress, honestly, I'm still torn on what style to do because I have been eyeing this fabric for both a 19 teens dress and or a bustle dress. So like if it was the 19 teens dress, this is just, you know, sort of something akin to what I would do. If it was a bustle dress, this is more something that I would do. So if I make that other 19 teens dress, I don't know, it seems weird to do 2 back to back, even though they're very different silhouettes, so maybe that's okay. And then also it kind of depends on how sick I get of like bustle dresses after doing the one for the Victorian festival. Obviously this is a very different style of bustle dress, more 1880s. So yeah, we'll see. I have a bunch of this though, so it could very easily be either. This is just a cotton, I think it's like it's a lightweight cotton. It's not quilting cotton, it's a little bit lighter weight. But I've had this for at least 4 years, I want to say at this point, and it's just been really itching to be made into something fun and summery. And then there's the question of if I have time to do more before costume college, which I don't know that I will because I feel like I've been having so much less energy in the last year than I have in like previous years. So we'll see. But I talked to you guys about this in the last plans update video, which is a robe a la Francaise out of this fabric that I got from the fabric district. And then also this fabric that I got as a contrast. So I think that it would be really, really pretty. I've never actually made a robe a la Francaise before. It would be fun to wear one to costume college, but it just depends on if I kind of have the mental energy, time, etc. to put this together. It's definitely like, if I were to go into something right now, it is absolutely not a project I would do. I'm just hoping that by the time we get to summer that I'll be more in that headspace and be more willing to tackle a project like this, because I would love to finally make a robe a la Francaise. I feel like, you know, it's almost like a rite of passage as a historical costumer, and it is somehow weird that I have not done one yet. And then we kind of bring it back around to fall sewing, and this was a project that I kind of talked about-ish a little bit in the last video, but it was supposed to be a chemise a la reine. I love the purple chemise a la reine that I made this last year, and what I want to do with this black cotton voile that I have a whole bunch of, this is going to be a bustle dress. It's going to be a fluffy, totally wrong for the Halloween season type bustle dress. Hopefully I can make it kind of an early fall so that it's still kind of more of a summery weather type outside. But this just, I want one of those frothy ones. I have white fabric to do a really early bustle dress. Like I've been kind of earmarking it for really early 1870s type crinolette bustle, and I have not gotten around to that for years, but I'm even more determined to do a black version because they just look so scrumptious. And yeah, so that's what this is going to be, and I'm really pretty determined to get that done this year as my like fall sewing project. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Also potentially for later in fall / going into winter next year are projects that I have talked about before but then have gotten shelved. So this one right here, I absolutely love this 1830s pelerine. It has been on my to make list for absolute ages. It's so freaking gorgeous. I don't have the velvet for it yet, so that's kind of the question on that one, but I really, really want to make it, and I just keep shelving it because I haven't found the right fabrics yet. So hopefully I can find the right fabric this year and I can finally make that dress. And then finally, another project that's been on my kind of to-do list for a couple years, but again, I don't have the fabric for, is Caroline's Pelisse, the American Girl Pelisse. I think that it is so pretty. I love that color blue. I love the details, and it's one that I've been wanting to make, but again, I don't have the fabric for, so we will see if I can find it, but if so, that will finish out the 2025 sewing projects. At least as of this point, because as you know from watching these videos in the past, if you have seen them, they tend to change of like what I plan to do, and then other projects crop up or time gets you know, busy and things don't happen and things get shelved. So I do always like to make these both for you guys, but also for me to kind of have a good marker of like goals and plans and what I want to do. And we just have to hope that things actually come to fruition. So yeah, that's all of my plans for 2025 sewing. I would love to hear about your guys' plans, so let me know down in the comments what exciting costuming plans you might have coming up this year, and whether that's like costuming or honestly sewing for yourself, like regular day-to-day sewing, because you know that I will be slotting in day-to-day type sewing projects as well going through the year. I love doing those and they give me kind of a nice break. But yeah, I would love to hear about your projects, so let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video though. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube at least once a week, usually with sewing vlogs out on Tuesdays and sometimes additional sewing content out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below, or you can send me a super thanks or join my YouTube channel memberships right here on YouTube below the video. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Jean and Kim. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!